Today is new tool time. After the video that I did for the no spill oil pot, which turned out fantastic, I wasn't happy. I didn't have a lot of boring bars and internal threading bars to work on this project. I had a couple and I made it work. This turned out great. I love this thing. The only thing I'm not terribly happy with is inside it's not terribly smooth on my internal bore. I think what I might do is go back and just clean that up so it's nice and smooth. I want it to look nice. I'll take a close-up picture and insert that here so you get a better idea. But after that, I thought I need to get some proper boring bars, some things that are more rigid. The problem I had was that one I had just kept, the boring bar that I had kept flexing. So I couldn't go very deep and then I had to flip it around. So I wanted to sort that, get that sorted once and for all. So what I did was I looked online and I purchased some internal threading and internal boring bars, and they fit the carbide inserts that I already have, so we're ready to go. All right, the threading tooling that we got. Let's open each of these. If you're curious, the part numbers are SNR 00008K11, 000 or 20's 10K11, and 2012M11. So I believe these are your millimeters. This stuff's probably metric. So 8mm, 10mm, and a 12mm. So let's open all three of these, take a look at them, and then we'll measure them, label the containers, and we'll put everything back and move on to the boring bars. Let's move on to the boring bars. Those are the threading bars. Here's the boring bars. So we will open all of these and do the same thing. Also, the part numbers I should share with you on these are, again, I believe they're in metric. So you have SCL CR06 is the type of boring bar it is, and the models are S12M, S08K, S10K, S07K, and 06. So I think that's all millimeter. We'll confirm that. Let's open these up. I got some internal threading and I got a good set of boring bars. Now as I'm working on projects, I'll be able to step up my hole diameters without having that flex in that small boring bar I had. I'm grateful to have had the boring bar that I did. That was a gift from someone very early on. You know who you are. Thank you. You helped me out tremendously early on when I first started this channel. So I used that. Thank you. That's what helped me make that oil pot. So these are just going to help me expand the projects that I'll be able to work on. At any rate, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you on the next one. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Deez. This is my workshop. Today we're going to just do a slight improvement on my no-spill oil pot. When I first bored out the center hole for my brush, I had a really small boring bar that would flex, and in the end I did not get near the finish that I was hoping for when I bored this out. What I want to do is clean this up, mount this thing back up, and actually just do a skim pass to clean out the inside bore of this. If you can see that, there's ridges in there. It's quite terrible, really. Functionally, it doesn't matter, but I want to clean that up. So, since that project has completed, I have acquired I bought them, some boring bars and internal threading bars to improve future projects and my abilities there. So I have really small ones, and then I have some more rigid bars that are going to be able to complete projects without having some of the issues that I had in the past. The couple options that we have is a 12 millimeter or ½ inch roughly, or a 3/8 boring bar. I think we're going to use the biggest one I have since it will fit. Absolutely. So we're going to use the 12 millimeter. I'm not going to use that one. Get this stuff out of the way. And the other thing I don't think I can use this. I thought I would try my boring bar holder, but I need to have, maybe I'll make one someday, but I would need to machine a sleeve to go in there in order for this to tighten down and clamp down. So I'm not going to use this. I thought I might, but this will have to be for another project another day. But that gives me a project idea. Make a sleeve so that I can use this boring bar in here, or maybe some other boring bars. Might need multiple sleeves. So we'll set this aside. What we're going to do is use one of my quick change tool post holders. This thing should mount in here fine, and that's how we're going to bore that out. Let's get this open. Use that. That is not sharp. There we go. This is a new one that I got. Haven't opened it yet. Bought some extras for different tooling. I like the 9 tools that I have already set up. It's really nice being able to mount these up and they're just ready to go. Once they're centered, you can just get on with your projects. Let's mount this thing up and make sure it's going to work. There we go. So, loosen these up, and this of course has to be centered once we get it up here. Then I need a depth, rough depth. Oh, somewhere on the M there. And we'll get that mounted up. I had to pause there for a second. So this is what we're going to do. We've got our boring bar with an extra ½ inch stick out so I don't run into anything. This is the most rigid boring bar that I have. It's 12 millimeter. I'm going to call it ½ inch. We are going to mount this thing up in the lathe, and we're going to center it up. This is the first time I've used this quick change tool post, so we'll have to center it up. And we're going to use this one and see if we can clean up the center of this hole. Let's go ahead and take this apart too while we're doing this. Clean up the oil. I mean, it doesn't have to be, crazy clean, because oil cutting fluid would be nice as I'm turning this. But just to try not to make a big mess. So there is the part. There's my fluid. But nice, it's nice having this lip on here where I can actually chuck it up to do this type of operation. So I'm going to chuck it up here. We're going to come in from the front, and again, if you can still see that, we're going to try to clean up this edge. So let's mount up over here and get started. A little bit more to go. Much nicer. Much smooth to the touch. I'm going to take one more pass. We're going to call that good. Let's clean that off. Let's get our workpiece out of there and we'll evaluate it on the workbench. We got our turning operation done. You can see that's very smooth. Finally, that looks a lot better. Having the right tools makes all the difference in the world when you're trying to turn your parts. That looks a lot more satisfying to me. This is a sharp edge. I kind of would like to leave it, but I don't like to leave too sharp edges. I can't really chuck this up the way that it is, so I'm just gonna use my manual deburring tool and clean that up a little bit. Not much, just enough. There we go. And there is the finished part. So I am much happier with that. And yes, I've been using my safety gear. Get that out of the way. Let's bring that little boring bar over here. That thing did pretty good. You know, these are the boring bars you can get at all the usual places, made in China, but you know, I've got inserts to replace these with. It's worked out very well. Quite happy with that. Take that off. We'll do that later. So at any rate, that is much, much better. I'm quite happy with that. Much better. This camera, get a little bit closer. Anyway, it's a lot better. I'm much happier with that. If you remember what it looked like before. Way better. Get the right tools. A thicker boring bar with a lot more rigidity, and you can get your projects done right. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you on the next one. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Deez, and this was my workshop. Not anymore. I moved my workshop. I had that TV all set up. That was my TV upgrade. And it is now in the large garage portion of my workshop. But it's only going to be good if I pull the vehicles out and I got people over and we're watching a football game or something. Majority of the time, I am going to be in the workshop. So I'm going to get that thing moved to where I can utilize it. It's nearly football season and I need to get that thing going. So while I'm out here, I can watch my beloved Bears tank another season. So we will probably just mount it over here. I got power up there. I think that'll be a good spot for it. And I think I'll be able to, you know, bring it out. I'll be able to sit over here in the workshop, work on my projects, watch my TV, at least football games, maybe some baseball. And anyway, enjoy this winter. Winter will be here before I know it, and I want to make sure I've got everything set up and ready to go. Plus, hopefully, I'll be able to be working on a mill and out here quite a bit more. For those curious, pretty simple TV, but this mechanism, there's just a latch here. You pull this down, it unclips from the bracket, and you're able to lift this TV off of here. Just thought I would add that clip in here. Anyway, it's a single stud install. Pretty straightforward, everything's disconnected. I know I'm very close. Everything's disconnected. We're ready to just pull that, lift that off of there, and go set it in the workbench. Just wanted to update you. There's a screw here that keeps it from coming apart, and I forgot to tell you that. So let's get that out of there and we can take this off. All right, we got the project complete. This is going to set me up nicely for this winter and football season. I'll be able to sit over here at the mini lathe while I'm working on my projects, and I'll be able to listen to and watch some football. Make it a little more comfortable in here. As you can see, sitting up there nicely. I'll be able to push that back against the wall when I'm not watching it. And I'll actually use the TV. I won't use it if it's in the other room. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Messing in the shop. Just cleaning up some old materials, trying a different camera angle. We'll see how this turns out. Get you in there a little bit closer, but not too close. Kind of testing the shaky cam and all that too. I'm just going to clean this up, make it parallel with the other side. this is just a little clip of me testing my micrometers and digital caliper again, just keeping my skills sharp to remember how to use these micrometers. And this stainless steel rod is 5/16. This was just out of a pack I've had, and it's measuring. I don't have tenths indicator on my dad's micrometer, so I guesstimated. So what I did, the digital caliper rounds up 5/10 or 0, so it would measure 314 or 313 and 5/10, but it's actually closer to 313 and 8/10, I thought. My dad's micrometer was really, it's in between the 7 and the 8/10, so I chose, well, it's in between the 313 and 314 thou. And so it was really close to 314, so I guesstimated 314 and 8/10. I don't have the vernier scale on those micrometers, but I do on the Fowler, and that came out to 313 and 7/10. So I guesstimated within a tenth. Pretty good, in my opinion. And then when I got to my gauge blocks, they're spot on. These are the 2 gauge blocks that were given to me. They're spot on. 23 thou with all of my tools, and this one's 150 thou with all of my tools. So next thing I'm going to do is the 2-inch micrometer, just playing around, and that'll complete just me messing around with the micrometers today. But it's always good to brush up your skills, make sure your instruments are working right, and just confirm them with some of the materials you're working with. So thanks for watching. I'll get this one added, and we'll call that a clip. Let's see what's inside this laser from a laser printer, this laser mechanism or enclosure housing. Probably won't do anything with this. I'd probably damage something, my eyes or something like that. I just want to see what's in here. I'm going to chuck this thing. Interesting. It's interesting. Some lenses. Mirrors. Here's the laser, so it comes through here. Interesting. All right, so if you're ever curious, your laser is over here. It comes through this mechanism, some sort of glass diode or tube or whatever. This thing is likely spinning so that it can shoot your laser through the optics over here, and I suppose heat up the toner so it fuses to the page. Kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm not going to do anything with this. Like I said, I'd probably do more damage to myself than if I didn't. But I do want to check these things out. See if I can get them out of here. Well, these are kind of well, that's a mirror. Interesting. Again, I really don't see what I would use that for. Anyway, that's what's inside these fusers. Here's your laser mechanism. down here. You know. And there's that laser. I'm not sure what you do on it. Safely. That's the thing. You got to be safe with this kind of stuff. I mean, you can see this thing was all protected inside its own housing. I mean, you don't want to screw around, mess around with that. Take this thing out. Aluminum heatsink. At any rate, that's what's inside this housing. Let's get rid of all this stuff. Won't be needing it. So you got this little, I assume this square, or the hexagon, the 6-sided rotation piece is probably what flings the laser around, transports it through these magnifiers, small one, big one, and then ultimately hits this mirror and gets sprayed out across your paper to fuse the toner to the paper. To put it simply, here's the laser mechanism that came out of it. Anyway, that's it. We're gonna trash this thing. Hope you enjoyed. Taking things apart again. More messing in the shop. Got to get some more magnets. Let's go. This is what we're after. The rest, trash.